the universal basic income going to be the big game changer? Use it as a promise on the eve of the Uttar Pradesh elections and then roll it out ahead of the 2019 Lok Sabha election? Well, that seems to be the BJP's plan. And joining us on this debate on Namo salary promise this evening, I'm joined by Atul Anjan, National Secretary of the CPI, joining us live from Lucknow. Prasenjit Bose, Economist, with us from Sonipat. Ghanshyam Tiwari, National Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Lord Meghnad Desai, very senior economist, with us in our studios in Delhi. Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Senior Fellow at the Center for Policy Research and Founder Director, Pehle India, also with us in our studios in Delhi. Dr. Sambit Patra, National Spokesperson of the BJP, and M.R. Venkatesh, Political Analyst. But it's you, Dr. Sambit Patra, who I want to come across to. The Election Commission has been very candid. It has told you that you can't bring in state-specific schemes. So you bring out the idea of the universal basic income scheme ahead of the Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Goa, Uttarakhand elections, sow the seed in the minds of the people that that is something that you want to bring in as a political party, as a social security net. Use it in the elections which are being seen as the semi-finals in these 5 states, and then roll it out by 2019, because you're saying it's a discussion process that needs to begin. So roll it out in 2019 and it's win-win all the way. Is it the same parallel that you are drawing out of the Congress's book when it did the farm loan waiver in 2008, Dr. Sambit Patra?
No, Navika. In fact, let me begin by saying that what is inside the famous briefcase that the finance minister would be carrying tomorrow to the parliament would not be known to any one of us, including the spokespersons of the ruling party. So I would not be able to preempt or to comment as to what is going to be shown tomorrow on the floor of the House by the finance minister. But nonetheless, since we are having a debate on universal basic income, which had been not shown by the government, but by the economic survey as a way forward, naturally we are debating this issue. See, as far as this government is concerned, I just want to remind you of one fact, that the first day when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was to be sworn in as the Prime Minister, he bowed to the parliament, he went inside, and the first words that he uttered were, "Ye garibon ki sarkar hai, this is a government of the poor and for the poor." So naturally, I'm sure, though I do not know about the contents inside the briefcase, but I'm sure the budget that we are going to see tomorrow is going to be a budget for the poor. And since we are celebrating
survey is a sneak peek at the budget. Dr. Sambit Patra, the economic survey gives you a sneak peek into the budget. So this is a plan, this is an idea that has been rolled out in the economic survey, clearly giving the indication that this is the direction in which the government is thinking at this moment. So what I'm asking is, why use it on the eve of, the Uttar Pradesh elections as a poll promise, and then roll it out in 2019? That way you keep people's attention rooted to you, in the next 2 years on this scheme alone, and get all the votes in the interim.
No, populism not at all. We should not underestimate. No, Navika, we should never underestimate the intelligence of the people of this country. The people of this great country cannot be fooled. Number 2, as far as the dream vision of Mr. Narendra Modi and this government is concerned, it is always Antyodaya. And remember, the Bharatiya Janata Party is celebrating the centenary year of Deen Dayal Upadhyay, the founder of the party, the philosopher of this party, and Antyodaya, thinking about the last person in the queue, is the brightest idea of this government. And I'm sure that the budget that is going to come tomorrow, and the ideas, the universal basic income.
I don't want a lesson on pure economics from you, Sambit Patra. Sambit Patra, the lesson on economics we leave for another day. Tell us about the politics of this entire idea.
And also, Navika, if I can just add to that,
if you want an answer on the politics,
about Prime Minister Modi's
if you want an answer on the politics, saying that Bharatiya Janata Party probably is trying to...
just bring your attention to also something what Prime Minister Modi said. And in May 2015, Prime Minister Modi had said that he would consciously avoid choosing a populist course, and that he had chosen the way of correcting machinery because populist course is a breach of trust of the people. This is also something that Prime Minister Modi himself has said. So your response to this and the earlier question, which is of course, the kind of testing the waters ahead of the UP elections.
I'll answer both the questions. First, the question that was put by Tina. Tina, as far as populism is concerned, the first budget, remember what Mr. Arun Jaitley had said in an interview to Times Now. He had said that I am against mindless populism. So naturally, this is a war between mindless populism and application of mind to fulfill the basic needs of the people. So these two are different issues. Mindless populism we shun always. But looking after the basic needs of people in the right way without corruption is what this government always stands for. And as far as the question of Navika is concerned, that are we trying to buy some votes by in fact bringing out this in an economic survey? Absolutely a big no. It is not as if all the poor in this world or in this country reside only in the 5 states that which are going for election. There are fair, equitable distribution of poor from Jammu and Kashmir till Kanyakumari.
Okay, Sambit, so
naturally I would not. I say this with a caveat that I do not know what is in the
Ghanshyam
briefcase, but any good step affects all the poor of the country.
Atul Anjan, Sambit Patra says that the fact that this has been mooted has nothing to do with there are major states going to elections. But I ask you, fact of the matter is that the UBI is being considered because the previous governments and their failed social welfare schemes actually have led to this. It's a failure due to leakages and corruption of previous welfare schemes that has actually led to perhaps considering this idea.
Madam Navika, I just want to say this is all the time referring to the earlier government is now no use, because already 3 budgets has been presented by this government led by the BJP NDA government by the Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi ji. The question is this, whether they have applied mind or not, I don't know. But this is one thing, if applying the mind, the Economic Survey 16 says the demonetization have a negative effect. Everywhere it has been shown, it has been referred, it has been said that its impact on the industrial growth. It has shown many other things. I don't know what is the effect, but certainly the people have become mindless after the demonetization. They are moving here and there. Still the reminiscences are very much clear, and the people and the market understand what is going on. The industrial growth, the common farmer, the rural people, they are still standing in the queue after the demonetization process. The whole thing is now economy is facing so much strains, and you are just trying to make that because of this of the earlier government. But now
we are still waiting for the benefits of Manrega as well. That's the whole point. That earlier social welfare schemes have failed so completely that this is being considered now. This is, remember, not in addition. This is something which would be implemented in lieu of existing failed social welfare schemes.
I agree.
I think
all the social welfare programs, it was useless. Why you are following that one? No. If the Manrega was very bad, why you are following it? Now you are following the same program.
I want to answer this.
Atul Anjan, that's the reason the universal basic income scheme is coming in. That's the reason why they are wanting to bring in to replace Manrega, which is not a targeted subsidy scheme.
Just discuss what happened to the price rise. The economy and the economic, you say,
can I answer Mr. Atul Anjan on Manrega?
Budget, where is, can this budget, they could hold the price rise? Can they check the price rise? Could they perform well? These are the issues. Why industrial growth is in sluggish way?
Well, we are asking you about the universal basic income, and you're talking about price rise. Atul Anjan, that's the reason you probably are losing connect with the people of India, Atul Anjan. The left parties seem to be losing connect with the people of India because people of India are talking about something else. You're talking about something else completely different.
Navika, one thing, listen one thing. When I speak, give me 50 seconds, don't interfere. And as others speak, you don't interfere.
You've been speaking for 4 minutes.
Then you interfere. I'm not interested in that.
You've been speaking for 4 minutes, Mr. Atul Anjan. I've given you a long time to speak.
I have no objection. The moment I speak, you have no right to interfere. Just you put the question.
Make your point. I give you 20 seconds. Make your point before I go across to Ghanshyam Tiwari.
This is a daily occurrence.
Make your point in 20 seconds and then I'll go to Ghanshyam Tiwari.
The others who are speaking, and the person who has represented, my dear friend, Dr. Sambit has given all the government viewpoint. I should also be given time to counter or to put my view.
Okay,
but you are going to price rise. You are not speaking about the issue at hand.
Make a comment. Sambit Patra, please allow Ghanshyam Tiwari to come in. He's just joined the Samajwadi Party and he has the views of the Samajwadi Party. Ghanshyam Tiwari, the question is the CAG, has said and brought out several loopholes. Ghanshyam Tiwari, the CAG has brought out several loopholes in the entire Manrega scheme. They've said that in April 2013, nearly 13,000 crore worth of irregularities had been found in the Manrega scheme. 6,500 crore had been spent on projects which had not started in any manner. 6,500 crore down the drain, even the projects have not started. So instead of all these leakages, do you think the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now thinking of a universal basic income? And will states like yours, like Uttar Pradesh, actually support the government? Because this can't be a centrally supported scheme alone. State governments will have to come on board, agree to reduce subsidies in other areas like Manrega, like food subsidies, like fertilizer subsidies, and then give space to the universal basic income. Are you worried that this is going to take away the sheen from the Samajwadi Party's campaign, and this is a new thought that the government has brought in, which will impact even these elections?
I would make three simple points. One, the economic survey clearly states that in the macroeconomic policy was robust. There were two major domestic policies introduced. One was GST and other was demonetization. GST was a brainchild of the previous government. It was not a brainchild of this government. Demonetization, nobody knows whose brainchild it was. When you speak about Manrega was at least a well thought out policy. The government is there to make policy. The implementation has a number of agencies gone. There are 900 schemes that the government runs. You can question the implementation of a policy, but what is the thought behind the policy? No one has interrupted. No one has come back and said Manrega as a policy was a bad idea.
You know, there's no point saying that Manrega was well thought out, because if it's not implemented well, then it's not worked out.
But right through this demonetization, the government has increased its budgetary allocation to Manrega. So the government is banking on Manrega because their own policy measure, which nobody knows who thought about that policy measure, has gone wrong. And the government is not ready to accept it, but the economic survey is clearly accepting it. The third point...
Okay, Sambit Patra, before I go to the Economist on the panel, Sambit Patra wants to rebut the charge made by both Atul Anjan and Ghanshyam Tiwari. Yes, Dr. Sambit Patra, before I go across to the Economist.
But to your debate on universal
basic income, can I please answer you?
It's a light matter that should be weighed. Just 1 point, Sambit. Dr. Sambit, just 1 point.
Okay.
Universal basic income is a dream for this country. For a long time, the Prime Minister has been selling multiple dreams. So I don't think people of Uttar Pradesh are going to buy another dream when other dreams like Achhe Din have not materialized.
Let Sambit Patra
there has
respond.
to be somebody who should be accountable.
Okay, let Sambit Patra respond.
A question that has been asked about Manrega. I mean, look, what was the problem with Manrega? Mr. Prime Minister was absolutely clear in stating that the implementation of Manrega had humongous loopholes, like the pilferage. Even the Congress government agreed to the fact that the pilferage in receiving the money was up to 30%. Asset creation was not done. Both these have been rectified. Today, the President of the country, while reading out the dream budget, in fact, I mean, the pre-budget session, he made this point that 36,000 crore had been saved because of the direct benefit transfer. So naturally, this is what was essential. You could save humongous amount of money if the implementation of any policy is right.
Sambit Patra, today somehow you are wanting to wear the hat of an economist when we want you to be the politician on the panel. We want you to...
No, I am a politician, but no politician can preempt a budget. No politician can preempt the budget. How can I see inside the briefcase that the finance minister is carrying?
It's only going to be a promise on the budget, if at all, because it's...
Navika, I have to be extremely politically correct. I cannot even discuss about an issue which has not been declared by the finance minister of the country.
We are discussing the issue that has been declared in the economic survey.
Yes.
Why are you shying away from what has been declared?
Declared on economic survey naturally calls for not for a political discussion, but for an academic discussion, which I am doing. If it would be announced tomorrow, then surely I am ready for a political discussion.
Okay, Dr. Rajiv Kumar wants to come in. Yes, Dr. Rajiv.
I know why Sambit is shying away
your
because
entire
of
campaign in
good
UP
reason,
is politically incorrect.
There has been in the past no connection in what the economic survey has and what the budget contains. And I can take a bet with you that tomorrow Mr. Jaitley will not talk about the UBI simply because it will be seen as too much, as too rank a populist scheme which will not fool anybody at all, and it will be an action on part of the government which will backfire. So he will instead talk about jam-based direct benefit transfer and transferring all the subsidies to that, so that you can transfer all that money into the bank account.
But Dr. Rajiv Kumar, you'll agree, the fact that this idea has been unveiled in the economic survey is just planting the idea out there ahead of the elections. Whether you have it in the budget or not, it's not important. The idea has been put out by this government.
Less than 1% of our voters know what economic survey is. So please let's not get confused at all.
You're optimistic.
So being very optimistic. And I tell you sincerely, the Prime Minister has focused very much on an improvement in the governance and delivery of subsidies and transfer payments. You're absolutely right, the leakages should be cut out, etc., etc., etc. And that is what the trinity of JAM and the DBT and Aadhaar will actually lead to. In fact, UBI is nothing else but another name for all of this.
So this is what I was going to ask you. In fact, the fact is that what we are discussing here, and this idea at the moment is of course just an idea that should be discussed, but this ties in with the whole JAM scheme. It ties in with that entire concept, and that's what it chooses to do. But is it not an absolutely populist idea?
No, you see, this is where I need to correct you.
Yeah.
Raising people's welfare and taking care of the poorest is a necessary condition for the success of a capitalist economy.
How is it different from direct transfer?
The UBI is not at all different from that. UPI is not.
Yeah.
But you give it a name and therefore you could convert it into populism. But this is why I am saying that you must distinguish between necessary raising of people's welfare. All capitalist economies, for example, have government provided housing. Whether it's the US or England, etc. We don't have that here. We should have it here. So what I'm saying is that let's not dump everything into populism.
We are not dumping it at all, Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Lord Meghnad Desai, let me get you in on this one. The fact that we are discussing the universal basic income scheme is not because of the economic survey. It's because a big idea has been put forth. Do you agree that this government is now experimenting with this idea? It may be a small seed, and Dr. Rajiv Kumar may be right that less than 1% people in this country know what the economic survey is saying. But the fact is, if it's an idea that's been put out there, it's a promise that has been dangled before the people. It's a promise that's been dangled before the state elections, and it's a promise that could be taken forward in the next couple of years. And we are saying, and take a bet on this one, that will this be the big ticket game changer ahead of the 2019 elections, the seeds for which have been sowed today with this idea being put out?
Well, let me put it this way. It would be a great idea if it were implemented. I mean, other countries have tried to think about it. I have written about it for UK and so on. Now, the thing is, the difficulty with universal basic income is nobody has the courage to abolish all the other subsidies. If you do it in addition to other subsidies, then it's too expensive. If you can eliminate Manrega, if you can eliminate food subsidy, if you can eliminate PDS, and then introduce universal basic income, it is a complete game changer.
But Lord Desai,
it's the most powerful policy there can be.
Yeah, but the survey says that a UBI that reduces poverty to 0.5% would cost between 4 to 5% of GDP.
That's right.
So is that something that's...
Yeah, well, the idea is that currently subsidies cost 3% of GDP.
Yes.
Well, don't you include the state subsidies? They all add up to about 5% already.
Exactly.
If you include the state subsidies
you should
as
include,
well. Okay.
Another difficulty would be, can all the states be persuaded to eliminate their subsidies? But whatever it is, if you're already spending 3% in central government, spending 2 extra percentage points is not difficult. It is feasible, but only if it's implemented very carefully, and you have to decide who to exclude. How many...
The assumption in the survey is the top 25% will be excluded.
No, but Navika, just one sentence, which is that if you haven't had the governance ability to run the scheme that you have now,
it can be a disaster. It can be a disaster.
UBI would be a mathematical disaster.
Absolutely.
Remember what the Prime Minister said about bringing black money back and putting
in everybody's account.
This is the second avatar. This is the second avatar of that policy.
That's the point. Prasenjit Bose, if I can get you in at this point, the official number is not out yet, but according to some reports, the total black cash collected post demonetization is about 2 lakh crores. Now, if this 10,000 or 12,000 rupees per year was to be given to those below the poverty line, this would cost about, for the 270 million people, about 3.21 lakh crores. So this is a neat idea that the government has got the black cash from the demonetization drive, channelize it into this. Could this be a workable solution, and will some of the critics of this government say that yes, this is a welfare scheme which the government is saying the time has come for?
But this is too simply.
Well, I don't know where you are getting your numbers from, because from what I have seen in the economic survey, it does not talk about, forget about 2 lakh crore, it doesn't even talk about even a few thousand crore which has been recovered as far as demonetization and black money is concerned. In fact, it actually says that the gains from demonetization are uncertain. The fiscal windfall is uncertain. It fails to actually put a number. Now, as far as this direct, whatever universal basic income scheme and this particular, it is basically a rehash of the direct benefit transfer that was floated by the previous government itself. I have two objections to this very idea. The first is a practical one. You see, in the economic survey itself, it clearly states that around 40% of the adult population of our country have active bank accounts. And most of them, those who do not have bank accounts, are the people who are below the poverty line. Now, how do you do this? How do you actually directly transfer the benefit to them? That itself, the logistical issue itself, is it is very doubtful how you can actually do it on the ground. But the second biggest objection that I have is a more, methodological one. That when you have a food subsidy, you are actually subsidizing food prices. Now, when you are giving a cash transfer or a benefit transfer which is not indexed to food prices, what happens when the food prices go up? You are today, when you are providing work through this employment guarantee program, you are providing
Rajiv Kumar is rebutting you there.
50 days, 40 days, whatever, to a certain household. When you are replacing that scheme.
Prasenjit Bose, Dr. Rajiv Kumar says the economic survey is very clear. It says that these
UBI will be indexed to the inflation, and it actually it sort of cites that as one of the difficulties. Because you got to index it quite properly.
I am saying,
and because inflation could be.
No, Dr. Kumar, you please hear me out.
Don't bring in something which is not relevant.
You please hear me out. What
Navika,
I'm saying.
can I please answer
is not
Mr.
the
Bose?
only thing that it is talking about replacing. The economic survey is talking about replacing the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. It is talking about replacing the Mahatma Gandhi employment guarantee scheme. It is talking about replacing the
nothing about Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. I don't know where you're getting your information from, Prasenjit Bose.
That is built in our system.
It says nothing about Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. It only talks about some subsidies which are there.
You read the economic survey. The problem is you don't read it. You don't read. You only get your briefing from the government and you only parrot the government propaganda. You don't read yourself.
We have read
the economic survey says 5.6%
you can't
of
be
the
the only
GDP
authority,
is
Prasenjit Bose, on the
certain
economic
welfare
survey.
schemes.
There are others
And they have
in the
listed
studio
those
who
welfare
have done their
schemes.
homework. There are
You
others
read
in
that
the studio who have done
chapter.
their...
Have you seen that chapter yourself?
I think
Can I please
Rajiv Kumar wants
answer,
to make
Mr.
a
Bose?
point.
There is nothing.
Navika, I would like to come.
Now what can I say? You are done their homework. I am saying you read the economic
doesn't
survey.
talk
The
about
economic survey
doing away with
lists
the Sarva Shiksha
an entire
Abhiyan
gamut
or any of the health
central
subsidies
government
or the life
schemes.
insurance scheme that the Prime Minister has launched. It is talking about UBI to replace those subsidies which are directly going to the beneficiaries, like the food, fertilizer, Manrega, etc. Right? So let's just state facts here.
MR Venkatesh, let's get you in. This is, and let's
Navika, I would like to
deviate
make
a
one
little
point
bit from
while
the
you-
economics of
when
it.
did Manrega become a
The
subsidy?
fact is, as an idea, the economic survey
From when
puts
has
it out
Manrega
there on the
become a
table that
subsidy?
this is a scheme that the government wants to actually implement. The fact that it puts it out now, the timing of it, the economic survey last year didn't speak about it. It didn't speak about it in the first year when they came. It's speaking about it now, and it's putting out an idea. The fact is, the government also admits that there are discussions that need to be held with states, how the subsidies will be subsumed. It's a long debate that will be needed to be done on this entire issue. The fact that the idea is out there on the table, is this a masterstroke by the Narendra Modi government? Because the timing of it ahead of the state polls and the fact that the rollout will happen somewhere in the next couple of years gives it the perfect timing for the 2019 polls. That's the question that we are debating.
Navika, I've never seen Times Now debating or taking an issue out of an economic survey and conducting a Newshour. The fact that UBS or what Universal UBI is being discussed in a news hour itself shows that it's an idea that is being contemplated, or it's being it excites all of us in more ways than one. It may dispirit the opposition for obvious political reasons. It may excite economists because they are going to find out where from the government is going to raise the revenue, whether it's 3%, 5%, whether they are going to tick some of the boxes and say these are the subsidies that are not going to be given, these are the subsidies that will remain, these are the subsidies that will be subsumed. It is the GST of subsidies. It is going to be some sort of GST of subsidies, the mother of all taxes that's going to come in. Please, but that's also a math. The chartered accountant in me is just doing the maths. If you are going to just transfer 1,000 rupees per month to the existing 26 crore people who have got this, this Jandan account.
Yes.
We are talking about something like 3 lakh crores.
3.24 lakh crore to be
It's
precise.
a huge amount.
Yes.
3.24 lakh crores is not an ordinary sum.
Yeah.
So where from the government is going to come? Is it going to bring about some new taxes to fund this, or is it going to bank on some fiscal deficit to do this? I do not know.
But
Which is why
MR,
I said
as
the
per the
Prime
center,
Minister will not have.
but expenditure on subsidies has already cost the government 2.5 lakh crore in the 2016-2017
Are you going to knock it off?
Can you
Are you going to
knock
knock
that
it
off?
off?
That's the question,
So the
right?
question is,
Yeah.
it is very easy to look at the debit side and say be happy, but unfortunately I'm a chartered accountant. I have to look at the credit side also and see where the books get balanced. Unfortunately, the economic survey has just thrown in the idea. Yes, it has got huge political and economic ramification. It is like GST, it subsumes everything. If it subsumes everything and says only one subsidy, take everybody, take all Indian who are below poverty line on these parameters will define the poverty line, pay you 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees per month.
So even with that, Lord Desai, what the one problematic question that comes up in a layperson's mind when you see this is, does this de-incentivize work? Because you're talking about as long as someone is below the poverty line, whether they work or they don't work, whether they want to work or they don't work, this money goes to them.
I think, when money is paid to the rich, nobody talks about incentives. If you're paying money to the rich is incentive, paying money to the poor is disincentive. Forget about all that.
The economic survey itself cites Mahatma Gandhi as saying that if charity is bad or transfers like this is bad because it makes people lazy, etc., etc. So there is an issue here, and therefore, by the way, a side issue is that it should have been done as a conversation between Mahatma Gandhi and Deen Dayal Upadhyay, who talked about Antyodaya and the last in the queue. I don't see the mention of Deen Dayal Upadhyay at all. So I don't think it's more than an academic exercise, and you will not find it in the budget, therefore, because also of all the reasons that Venkatesh just mentioned. So it's good to talk
Lord
about
Desai,
it, but that's
you think this is the equivalent of the farm loan waiver scheme of 2008 that the Congress brought out of its hat, and it gave it a second term in 2009. Do you think this is something that the government will look at over the next 2 years to implement?
My view is the government doesn't have to do anything to get re-elected in 2019. The opposition parties will ensure that the government is going to get re-elected. They can be perfectly relaxed about that. I think it is an idea which, as you say, is it a disincentive to work? Can we afford it? How many other subsidies can... These are the things for public discussion now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great idea. I wish it were implementable. And in the UK, we have not been able to implement it, but that's for other reasons.
So Atul
Atul
Anjan, let's bring you and Ghanshyam Tiwari back into this. So because it's very important, if this is to be discussed and to be debated, then the states also have to come on board. You know, it will have to be something that will be debated across parties. The states would have to also come on board to do away with existing subsidies to make UBI possible. And what would your stand be on this?
So not only that, if you look at states and if you look at the economic survey,
Navika.
it says that states are doing
Atul
better
Anjan, just
on
coming to you.
fiscal
Ghanshyam
deficit,
Tiwari has just started speaking. Coming to you
compared
next. Yeah.
States are doing better on fiscal deficit compared to the center. So if the center has to offer more money for the benefit of people, it can obviously be channeled better through states. The economic survey almost gives a backhanded compliment to the states on doing better and says that states are doing better because they have more resources now available. That doesn't cut it.
Tiwari,
The reality is,
extremely
even if you
nervous
look at
on the
UBI
eve of
as
the
a
Uttar Pradesh polls. You are seeming extremely nervous on the eve of the Uttar Pradesh polls. You are looking for compliments in the economic survey for states on the way they have been governed.
Commission has said. The Prime Minister maintains that the budget has nothing to do with the Uttar Pradesh elections. So why bring in a point that even the Prime Minister
so
is not
that's
ready
the
to
point.
consider?
Let's take to Atul Anjan. Atul Anjan, this
the Prime Minister
particular
has
scheme,
never been short of
do you
selling this country.
this will run
I just
into
want to
rough
make a
weather with
point
the Election
here.
Commission of India if there was a pilot project also
I'm not
announced by
talking
the
about
Finance
the
Minister on the
mere
universal
politics.
basic income?
I am not talking
Yes,
only
Atul
mere
Anjan.
politics. I am not talking mere politics. Let us talk in an academic way. Just a minute. In this economic survey, it says the agriculture growth is taking place. All right. Why it is taking place? Because you are giving the subsidies to the farmers. Poor, marginal farmers, they are getting the subsidies in form of the fertilizer, pesticide and many other ways. If you are going to cut the subsidies, the biggest you see will be the problem that our agriculture production will be negatively suffered and our food security will be threatened. We will be forced to import the food grains from abroad. So the
But Mr.
point
Anjan,
is
you always maintain, Mr. Anjan, you always maintain that the subsidy goes to corporates, never to the farmers.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
You always maintain the reverse of
Just
it.
a minute.
You have said
Why?
that the
Just a minute.
fertilizer subsidy
If you are
is
cutting
something
you are
that
trying
is
to
not
draw the
very
Manrega.
the BJP
You
can
say
That is
you have
always aimed at
generated
the corporate. That is for the benefit of the corporates. You have never
you
said
have
it is for the
generated
farmers.
employment
Today
in rural
suddenly you have
areas.
found something
If you
which
will
is the
withdraw
fertilizer
subsidy and if you will withdraw
No, no, please
Manrega,
understand,
from where you will get
fertilizer
and my
subsidy has
program
never
last
been
is my
something
last
that you
point
have
is this. My last point.
That you have said it is a subsidy for the
farmers. Let him complete his
Venkatesh,
point.
why you are coming in? No, just listen.
1 minute.
Listen just a
Yes,
minute.
yes.
Just a minute.
Make
listen.
your last
Have
point,
little
Atul
bit
Kumar
patience.
Anjan.
My point is
Yeah.
this. No, let us, if the government wants to do surveys, All India Kisan Sabha has given a suggestion long back. Those who have attained 60 years age, men and women, live in the rural areas, small, marginal, poor farmers having 1 cent of land or 20 acres of land, they and agriculture workers and all the rural artisans must be given by the center and state 10,000 rupees per month as a pension. If you give it, no social security things are required. The village and rural area, and it will cover more than 75% of the total population.
That's exactly
of this
the
country.
salary
Is
for
government
all,
going
the
to
income
accept
for
that one?
all that we are
That is a
talking
UBI,
about.
Atul. What are you?
Do you
what are
think,
opposing
Atul
it?
Kumar Anjan,
But that
today
is
you
a
have turned
UBI,
into
man.
such an economist
Why
that you are
you-
not
Yes, I am
commenting
putting.
on the politics of it.
Yes,
we
I am
are
using this
asking you.
agenda.
We are
Why are
asking
you
you.
leaving out
Not
that
as
one?
Arpan,
Will
it was
this
all right.
be-
It has been taken care of by many
Anjan,
other
Anjan,
programs
Anjan,
of the World Bank and IMF. But the rural problem,
bhai.
rural people have to be catered by the government of India and its
तो ये तो
policies.
rural
You are
लोगों के
reducing
लिए
it, you are
है।
withdrawing
अतुल
all
कुमार
subsidies.
अंजान।
You are pushing the 75%
अंजान
people
साहब।
into, you see, on the
अंजान
dustbin.
साहब, ये तो
It will
rural
not
लोगों
be
के लिए
wise.
है।
It
Urban
will not be a
proletariat
wise
का
ये
step.
रूरल लोगों के लिए
अर्बन
है।
प्रोलेटेरिएट का क्या
संबित
होगा?
पात्रा,
मैं
संबित
वकालत
पात्रा,
उन्हीं रूरल
अतुल
की कर
कुमार
रहा हूँ।
अंजान is
मैं ग्रामीण
obviously
लोगों की वकालत
absolutely
कर रहा हूँ।
nervous,
अगर
which is why
प्रधानमंत्री
it
जी
brings me
चाहते
back to the
हैं
question.
तो 10,000 रुपए पेंशन दे दें गांव के
Can I
अरे
please
1,000 तो मिलने
I have
दीजिए
heard you all
पहले,
very
10,000 बाद में आएंगे।
और रूरल आर्टिजन
1000 मिलने दीजिए पहले अतुल कुमार अंजान।
आप जो है हमारे गाँव के
10,000 ऑलरेडी बना दिया, 30 लाख करोड़ रुपए लग जाएंगे,
होते हैं उनको 10,000 रुपया
उसमें 30 लाख करोड़ रुपए लग जाएंगे, पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे?
What is wrong in that?
Sambit Patra, the real tough question, Sambit Patra, that the BJP will itself have to answer is, are you in a position to knock off all the other subsidies? Yeah. Are you in a position to, completely roll back the PDS system, completely take away the fertilizer subsidy, completely remove Manrega? Are you, and the food security for all? Are you in a position to pack up all these schemes, put them in the waste paper basket before you begin the universal basic income scheme, the idea for which has been floated by your government today?
Navika, allow me some time. I've heard everyone very patiently. Number one, I am not in a position to debate a speculative issue on the eve of the presentation of budget. This is absolutely clear and candid.
You're talking like a finance minister, Sambit Patra.
No. See, there are certain moralities.
You are being more careful than the finance minister.
No. Hear me out. It is an idea mooted on the economic survey, and the economic survey does not talk of doing away with all the subsidies. But I cannot speak beyond this. But certain points which arise in this debate need some mention.
But doing away with many, because that would be a prerequisite for UBI to actually be a success.
Allow me, both of you, please allow me. There's a number of questions that have come my way. Allow me to answer them. See, you all agree to the fact that I'm absolutely amused with the fact that I have two left spokespersons over here. We have Atul Anjan and we have Mr. Bose. If we are talking about something called as universal basic income, then the opening statement of any left spokesman should have been, we welcome this move. But look at the frustration of even the left spokesman. I mean, this is an equalizer.
That's exactly what Dr. Rajiv Kumar said. This is
an equalizer.
So that's exactly what he was also wondering about.
So I'm amused. But coming on a serious point, and what Mr. Ghanshyam had raised, I really want to answer this very seriously. That he was saying that only 40% of the people in this country have bank accounts. Now we have to introspect. Jan Dhan was started, 27 crore accounts were opened. So do we want to be in the same stage what we were before 2014? No, we have to improvise, and the improvisation has started under the leadership of Mr. Modi. Jan Dhan Aadhaar, only 2 days ago, if you see the headlines of newspaper, 99% of those who are above 18 years of age in India today have an Aadhaar card with them and mobile. Naturally, with this combination, India has to move forward so that the pilferage is reduced, corruption is reduced, and the money which is meant for the poor goes to the poor. This is the basic premise
of that is understood, Dr. Sambit.
The UBI is not needed. Why don't you say that?
Yeah, but
why don't you say that,
Dr. Rajiv Kumar and Lord Meghnad Desai.
Therefore, the UBI is not needed.
Yeah, what is to say?
No, I cannot say beyond the point. I cannot say anything.
Schemes fail
Why not?
in a completely capitulate.
So
what is the foolproof mechanism here if this is to be rolled out, Lord Desai?
I think if we can find a scheme for directly transfer money to the recipient, directly without any intermediary, no middleman, nothing. And if bank accounts can be had or smart cards on which one can imprint, that is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But now in India we have the equipment with the Aadhaar card and other things to be able to do it. So
that's why MR Venkatesh.
That's a technical point. The other point is, how do we identify the beneficiaries?
Exactly.
Who are the persons? You are not going to give me, I don't want it, but you definitely have to give it to somebody who is working in my house or something like that. So how do you identify the cheese and distinguish it from the chalk? And that is going to be a big problem, because where do you draw the line?
The other thing is that
who will draw the line?
Meghnad said that they tried but could not implement it in the UK. Where for God's sake, everybody has a social security number and ID, right?
And also,
here in our case, in our country,
Rajiv,
the size of the informal sector is so huge at the moment. To cover all of them in that UBI is, I think, is just a non-starter. So let's perfect the jam-based DBT, and then we can take this step. And I would hope that Sambit would say this, because whether or not the finance minister says it tomorrow or not, it makes common sense for all of us to agree that UBI UBI is a good idea, but whose time has not yet come.
JAM will be the first step.
There has to be.
It has to be through JAM.
The
There
big
has to be
thing
through
which
JAM.
would be that for housewives, it would revolutionize their lives. Those who are not going out to work
Lord
or
Meghnad
cannot
Desai,
work.
whichever way you look at it,
it's
you seem to be really with the government thinking that this is an idea whose time has come.
Let me say modestly, I proposed it myself 12 years ago in the British Parliament. So I mean, I'm very happy somebody
And could not implement it, Lord. Yes.
I can remember.
They could not implement
I was
it.
not the Prime
Okay,
Minister.
okay, Sambit Patra, my last question to you. You will also have to get states on board
Talking
to...
about Aadhaar. And there were people who were opposing Aadhaar some 6 years back. Now we are all totally dependent on
Arey
Aadhaar.
bhai, everybody
And
is
they
trying
You
to
oppose
say-
Congress, you accepted Congress. Things move on, sir.
a bogus exercise.
Aadhaar was
Anjan,
proposed initially
Lord
only
Kane
to be
said,
an
when things
identification
change,
number.
I
We
change
have
my
moved
mind.
from there to
Don't you?
digital integration. That is the difference. But Atul ji, आप अनजान है बहुत सारे सच्चाइयों से.
Yes, caught on my evening.
Okay, Atul
मैं
Kumar
सच्चाइयों से
Anjan,
अनजान हूं,
would you...
लेकिन आप अनजान
Let
होकर
me
के
give
भी
you
जिस
the
तरह
last
बेजान हो गए
opportunity.
हैं, देश के अंदर जिस तरह से बेजान
अतुल
होकर
कुमार
के आप
अंजान।
मृतप्राय संस्था में आप मणिकर्णिका घाट की तरह की बातें
अरे
कर रहे हैं.
अतुल जी, अभी बजट
मणिकर्णिका
की
घाट पर
घोषणा
जाने
नहीं
वाली
हुआ है.
बातें कर रहे
तबीयत
हैं.
काहे खराब कर
Atul
रहे हैं?
Kumar
कल के लिए कुछ बचा के
Anjan
रखिए.
and Ghanshyam
काहे के लिए
Tiwari.
बात कर रहे हैं?
Atul Kumar Anjan and
नहीं, आप
Ghanshyam
टाइम
Tiwari.
आप तो
Let me
देश का
give
टाइम
both
खराब
of
कर ही
you
रहे हैं. छोड़ दीजिए
opposition
अब
parties the
आपको
last
टाइम खराब करने
opportunity
की
to
बात 11 मार्च को
congratulate the
होगी. अभी
government
मत
if they
चिंता
were to
कीजिए.
come in with a universal
नहीं,
basic
अभी
income
तो आप
scheme.
सब बातें कर रहे
Do
हैं.
you think-
प्रधानमंत्री जी
do
को
you
अब देश
think
के
Atul
अंदर
Kumar Anjan
अर्थव्यवस्था की
and
कमी
Ghanshyam
में आ गई.
Tiwari, you'd like to
डिमोनेटाइजेशन का पूरा
congratulate
रोना
Sambit
रोया है
Patra?
आपने. This economic survey weeps about
Navika, should I congratulate Sambit Patra that somebody like Yogi Adityanath is spewing venom in Uttar Pradesh? Should I congratulate
Come on,
Sambit
let's
Patra
not go
that
into-
their leaders in Uttar
but
Pradesh are down and right politically incorrect while Sambit Patra is being politically correct here? Should I congratulate Sambit Patra because the Prime Minister unfolds a new dream every year, but in their manifesto they cannot speak about Achhe Din themselves? We cannot congratulate anybody
Achhe Din
who has
laane
not
wale
implemented ideas but taken bold ideas.
Ghanshyam
We will
Tiwari,
form the government, we will give you
Ghanshyam
motorcycle.
Tiwari and
Don't only
Atul
think of
Kumar
cycling.
Anjan. Despite the Samajwad and despite the social security talk that the left parties do, neither party is able to congratulate the BJP. That clearly shows their insecurity with the idea of the universal basic income scheme. At the moment, it's an idea that has been expressed in the economic survey, but if it were to be rolled out, would it be the big game changer in the run-up to the 2019 elections? Would it take the wind out of the sails of the opposition? That's the question we leave you with. Don't forget to join in on this entire debate on the budget tomorrow, because we'll start here very soon and we hope the finance minister will answer some key questions on the universal basic income scheme that has been first put out here on the economic survey. Will he put a pilot project in his budget? We'll sit and wait for that when the finance minister speaks tomorrow. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining us here on debate number 1.